Hey, how's it going, everyone? And welcome back to Monster Taming and Chill, the show where we interview various game developers within the monster taming genre and subsequently gain a deeper knowledge of their works. Now, today I'm very happy to have Denis and Anton, the developers behind Monster Sanctuary, with me. How's it going, guys?
It's been good, thanks. How is it going for you?
Oh, same old, same old.
It's pretty good. Exciting times.
Oh, I can imagine. So why don't you guys both tell me a little bit about yourselves?
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, I'm the main developer of Monster Sanctuary, Dennis. Uh, I'm a game developer from Germany, so sorry in advance for the not perfect English. And yeah, I started working on this game as a free time project, and later on, it became a full-time job,
Hmm.
and Anton joined working on it part-time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like 2.5 years ago. And then, like in the beginning, it was kind of informal, like just kind of asking me for ideas
Hmm.
and if I can just like write all the like texts in like the first area for like the first demo.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but then with the successful Kickstarter, I kind of joined like well, not full time because I was studying, so I'm kind of a part-time developer.
Okay.
Even still now, I'm part-time developing because I finished my old bachelor's, which was for teaching,
Okay.
but then I realized that I would prefer to be a game developer actually. So now I'm studying in Cologne, digital games, game design. Um, yeah,
Wow. No,
that's
that's awesome.
about me, I guess.
Yeah. Also of note, Anton is younger by 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a funny thing.
Wait, so you guys are 10 years apart?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So how old are you, Anton?
I'm 27.
Oh, wow. So Dennis is a little older then.
Yes.
Yeah, we also have another brother who's in the middle. Like we are three brothers.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm 26, so I guess I'm the youngest one here.
Don't worry.
So on that note, can you guys like in a general sense describe what Monster Sanctuary is to those who are watching that might have not either seen the game or played it?
Well, Monster Sanctuary is this idea of combining a monster taming RPG with side view Metroidvania-like exploration,
Hmm.
but still have like turn-based combats. It's like a quick summary.
Yeah, I guess that summarizes it.
On that note, then, what inspired the idea to take these two genres and sort of put them together?
It wasn't quite like that. It was more like I wanted to make a monster taming RPG, which actually Anton gave me the idea too.
Hmm.
And but I didn't want to do it in the top-down perspective like the Pokemon games, because back then I wanted to do everything myself,
Hmm.
and I thought it would be easier to do all the sprites if I do the game from the side view perspective. So I thought I'll do it the exploration like it is in a Metroidvania, and yeah, it was actually later that I realized what unique of an idea it was.
No, definitely. I know for me at least, playing Monster Sanctuary was it's one of those things that you didn't know you wanted until you have it. Like when someone told me about the game, they're like, oh, it's early access game. It's Metroidvania mixed with turn-based combat. I was like, that's kind of strange. Let me check it out. And then I played it and I was like, holy crap! Like, I want more games to be like this.
Thanks.
One thing is like in and it's a different style, but in a lot of monster taming games like Pokemon, it's top down. You're just walking. Your character can't really do much. It's just how it is. But in Monster Sanctuary, like being in battle is just as exciting as being out of battle because you have so much freedom with how you can move your character.
Yeah, I guess it kind of helps that Dennis doesn't really play Pokemon that much. Like he played the first one on the Game Boy,
Oh, okay.
and I think apart from that, he also played Sun or Moon like
Oh, okay.
really later on.
Yes, son. But
So I guess yeah, you can say.
I didn't like Sun too much. Uh, kinda lacked challenge for me.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I feel like after the 5th generation of Pokemon, like it got like
Yeah, that's totally true.
Pokemon was never Dark Souls or anything, but it used to be at least like a little bit challenging sometimes. But I find that
True.
most of the new games are like just they're just been like I don't know, they feel like watered down Pokemon to be honest.
Yeah, that is true. Um, yeah, but what I wanted to say was, yeah, I think it helps that Dennis didn't play Pokemon that much, so he didn't let that influence Monster Sanctuary too much. Like, I think it's really more inspired by a lot of other games that he and we played.
That's actually sorry, you go ahead and then I'll say what I was going to say.
No, I just want to say yeah.
No, I was gonna say that's actually really good because when I heard that Monster Sanctuary had triple, but like 3-on-3 battles, the first thing that came to my head was like the triple battles in Pokemon, and I'm not trying to like bash Pokemon, but the triple battles are like they even they realized that they weren't any good. They stopped using them after like I think they only existed in Gen 5, and then they just don't
Yeah.
exist anymore. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's no like in-game battles that use them anymore. But anyway, I was worried it'd be like that because I was like, oh, those are like so tedious. But you guys made a combat system that's so interesting, and it's so catered to that 3v3 that you forget you forget this is a 3-on-3 battle sometimes because it's so like it's so seamless. It's not like, oh, I have to choose all these attacks. It's more like I need to set up a combo.
Yeah, thanks. I think I mean if we're not looking at Pokemon but just like RPGs or JRPGs in general, yeah, you can have like 3-on-3 combats or 4 party members. So it's we looked more at those actually. I think Pokemon is just balanced to be 1-on-1. That's why
Yeah.
they are 3 versus 3 probably didn't work that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more like inspired by games like Final Fantasy, I would say, I guess.
Yes.
That makes that makes a lot more sense because it's like you said, like even though they're competitive is like 2-on-2, like the in game the story is all based on 1v1. So when you end up in a 3-on-3 battle, you're just using a bunch of like 1-on-1 attacks, but with 3. So it makes sense. But on that note, so Monster Sanctuary just released full access on Steam, and now it's out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. So how does it feel to have your game on all these platforms now?
Oh yeah, that's for sure feels great. It's like I would not have expected that it would launch like on all console at the same time when I started working on this game. But yeah, this was something that our publisher helped us with, the console pods. Yeah.
Have you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anton. Sorry about that.
But I guess it's also like a little bit overwhelming maybe because we are now also getting like bug reports not only from the PC version, because before the launch day we only got bug reports from the PC version, but
Yeah.
now we're also getting reports from Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation 4, which all are different, like have different problems, I think.
I know one thing that this also like when Nexomon came out that this was happening too is for the Switch, for example, takes longer to release to actually get its patches out. For I don't know what the reason is. There's like a delay behind it or whatever. Than the PS4 and the Xbox, but the PS4 and the Xbox also take longer than the Steam version of the game. So you end up like you end up like me, for example. I'm playing on Steam. I'm actually probably gonna also pick it up on PS4 because I like to platinum trophy my games, but if I'm playing it on like if an update comes out and I'm playing it on Steam, I'll get a bunch of people like on consoles being like, "How did you do that? I don't have that in my game."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is. Basically, so you either have to um, release on Steam or certain consoles earlier, or you delay their patches to
Hmm,
release it simultaneously. But yeah, that's pretty much true. Yeah.
makes sense. So now that the game is out, I got a couple questions here. Number one, have you noticed like a sort of an influx in your community growing, and how has community reception been in general?
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely a lot of feedback on like our Discord server is growing, and a lot of messages on Twitter, and yeah, I that's for sure. Like a lot more activity than before. Like the game was in early access for more than a year,
Yeah,
so most of the time it was rather quiet, except if we like release an update or something. But
yeah,
yeah, right now or the last couple of days, it was a lot of activity,
I can
and
imagine.
True. It
feedback
spiked.
was very positive overall.
Good, good, good. You had something to say there, Anton?
No, I just said that the kind of spiked. I guess it's still spiking the activity.
Yeah, I can actually notice it on my end too, because I always like to try to release a string of videos for a game whenever they come out to sort of celebrate. And I've noticed even some of my older Monster Sanctuary videos from, like, I did a video a while back just going over the familiars. And I've noticed that's been like, I've been getting notifications for comments on that like crazy lately. And within the last couple of days, like, after a video's out for a while, it starts to slow down how many people see it. But at the past couple of days, it's been getting like a couple thousand views. I'm like, what the heck's
Wow,
happening? Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. So got a lot of people asking questions about like, which one do you like? Which one should I choose? Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think people start to look up content on YouTube because
Yeah,
yeah, for example, I think yeah, a video like that where you suggest or explain the familiars, that's something probably a lot of players look up.
yeah. And we'll probably we'll end up getting more into this when I with the questions in the podcast. But one thing I really like about the way you guys set up your starters is that they're tied to a bloodline, and there's all this story behind it. It's not just, oh, just pick one because it's this type. Like there's all this like background, and each one has like a very different personality. It's something that I like anyway.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what Anton basically did.
Yeah. I wrote those backstories.
Okay, I gotta ask this. Which one of you guys plays Dark Souls?
Both.
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 But I think
Yeah.
I
Okay.
played more, I think. Or did you
And
play Dark Souls 2 already, Dennis?
I think Anton started way earlier. I started
Yeah.
playing Dark Souls 3, but since then actually I played all Dark Souls games. I
Oh,
played
wow.
even Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Ah, damn. I haven't played that. Yeah,
I
actually, then Dennis has played more Dark Souls because he's also played Bloodborne, which I haven't played yet.
I
And I played
I
Sekiro as well.
I was a later player too. Like I started playing the Dark Souls games probably in like 2018. But once I played
Hmm.
the first one I played was Bloodborne. Then I
Mhm.
played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3. I've played Sekiro. Now, I once the PS5 comes out, I want to get the Demon Souls remake because I haven't played Demon Souls. But I could just with the Mimic and the Sizzle Knight, I was like, "This is some Dark Souls inspiration going on here."
Yeah, and I would also say like some of the like design elements are also kind of a little bit taken from Dark Souls, like the world building and
Yeah.
like the teleporter stones, I think. The crystal shards are kind of like the bones that you have in Dark Souls,
Yes.
and some other stuff probably too.
Yeah. No, I definitely noticed it, so I had to ask because I'm a huge Dark Souls fan.
Oh,
Also
oh,
kind of how we did like some of the NPC quests kind of, whereas like you encounter the same NPC in like different locations throughout the game. That was also kind of inspired by Dark Souls, I think.
Also, maybe like this principle of trying to make the game somewhat more challenging.
Yeah.
I think this is something that Dark Souls kind of brought back to the gaming industry.
True.
I'll even say like the world map is kind of similar to how Lordran is in Dark Souls 1, like how it all kind of wraps in on each other, and there's like
True.
you could go through one area and I mean it's typical Metroidvania stuff, but you know, you end up going through one area and it wraps back around to a previous area and it unlocks a new shortcut and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is true. Yeah, the shortcuts, I think that might have been also been a little bit inspired.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. No wonder I like this game so much. Okay, so we were just talking a little bit about the spectral familiars. So like I said, the game features 4 spectral familiars that hail from 4 specific families. Can you give us a little bit of information about each of the families and their importance to the sanctuary?
Okay, so I guess this is pretty much a question for me, since I'm kind of a lore master.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to come up with this kind of like different personalities for the familiars, at least like in the backstories and the lore. And the idea, I guess, is also that the family members of the bloodlines, they kind of take on these like characteristics or these personality traits like a little bit because they are tied with the familiars. Um, so the spectral wolf is like the idea with him is kind of that he's this lone wolf, I guess, personality, like kind of like antisocial, but also doesn't let himself get affected by other people. So they are like usually like more like objective and like logical. So I would say like the families don't have like fixed roles or anything like that, but I guess they will like gravitate towards like certain roles, I guess. But with the wolf, I guess the only thing that they would like gravitate towards is maybe being like judges or something like that. Like they don't have like anything fixed like that, I would say, because it's more like I don't know, it's just like more like general like personality traits. The line, I guess like the personality traits here are like kind of like they're noble, like they're trying to do like the right thing, but on the other side they can also be like very like authoritarian, like they want to push like their beliefs, like how they want things to be done on the other people of the sanctuary. But overall they are definitely well respected too, because they are like usually like trying to do like the right thing, and they're kind of like very like moral people, and I guess they will also try to like increase their prestige. Yeah, that's also like part of their personality traits, like thinking about like their prestige and like their pride and like honor and that kind of stuff. The toad, yeah, as it's written in the monster journal, they are like kind of like teachers, because the personality traits here are kind of like wise and like
Yeah.
knowledgeable, but also like generous, like sharing their knowledge with other people usually. Like for example, like I guess the canon idea is that Will has the Spectre Toad and his grandfather wrote the monster journal. So for example, like writing the monster journal is like a typical thing for like the Spectral Toad family,
Yeah.
you could say. Yeah, but on the other side, they're not always like generous and like nice and like teachers. Sometimes, as it's written in the journal, they can also like be individualistic too and just use this knowledge for their own gains,
Yeah.
for their own wealth. Yeah, I guess that's it for the spectral toad. With the spectral eagle, I guess with spectral eagle, the personality is a little bit harder to nail down. But I would say the spectral eagle is kind of written as kind of like this creator type entity or spirit. Like the spectral eagle like created this like special sun that the sun palace has. In
Yeah.
the lore it's also written that the spectral eagle also created the griffin. And there's also this like crazy stories that the Spectral Eagle like has created some weird like realm above the clouds. So I would say it's more like, I guess, like creative
Yeah.
personality traits and also like adventurous, because it's either like about creating new things or discovering new things, and not being like fixed in one position or like one location.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's it. These are like kind of the personality traits, and the roles I would say are like less fixed. Like I think with personality traits you can already like kind of think about what kind of roles they will take on in the sanctuary. Yeah, I don't want to like impose like too much onto like the story, so people can kind of
Yeah.
make their own vision also a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So, on that note, the Monster Sanctuary is this place that's sort of apart from everything else. Can you explain a little bit about what the Monster Sanctuary is and why it exists?
Yeah, I guess it's also kind of another lore question.
Yeah.
um So the idea was that we wanted to have this place that's kind of like I would say like a reservation or like a wildlife sanctuary, I guess,
Hmm.
because the backstory is in this world, the humans kind of try to progress their technology, they try to progress their empires, and they did this by like collecting all the resources that are available to them, because humans kind of always try to get like power over one
Yeah.
another. Um, and trying to like create like more luxuries for themselves, and the idea is that they wouldn't care too much about like these monsters, because most of them are kind of like dangerous or kind of like hard to tame.
Yeah.
um so they wouldn't care too much about them, kind of like yeah. So the idea is that like most monsters would be like endangered by how humans like progress and like take away all the resources and kind of like destroying their like habitats.
Hmm.
So then it's some point in history, like some people, but I would say like really like a minority of the people decided to like stand against this and um, to like fight back, and then they like use some magic to create this monster sanctuary, essentially, which so they basically like created like actually like new land mass that like that like moved into like the world around it, and it's kind of like you could say like a separate world in itself. Like it has like these magical barriers, so it's like hard
Yeah.
to cross over into the monster sanctuary. um yeah, and it's supposed to be this place where all of the monsters should have like a safe like yeah, safe habitat where they can live and like won't die out. So the idea is that they will be preserved. But I guess with that comes also like challenges, because they are still like supposed to be like monsters, like wild creatures that don't they can't really like be fully domesticated, I
Yeah.
guess. um so yeah, there's this whole like order of the monster keepers that have to like maintain the order by like yeah, taking care of these like champion monsters and making it so, because otherwise I guess if you would just let the monsters like be wild, then some monsters would like kill other monsters, I guess, or like
Hmm.
push them away, some stuff like that. So they try to maintain like an order in this way, I would
Okay.
say. Yeah.
Kind of walking a thin line between, you know, over being overbearing and not and not
Yeah.
and not putting themselves into the situations enough. They kind of have to like balance that
Yeah,
line.
exactly. Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. Kind of reminds me of I mean, your game was probably in development before this came out. I can't even remember when it came out, but it kind of reminds me of Attack on Titan a little bit.
Huh.
Because everybody's I mean I might be getting into Attack on Titan spoilers
Hmm.
here, but
Well,
basically
we watched Attack on Titan, I think, both of
yeah,
us, right, Dennis?
Yeah, I watched the not the full series, but I watched like the first movie. I think it was like a shot cut down version of the series or so.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
interesting.
Also, I read the first manga.
Oh, okay. Basically, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but basically, in the later season, there's stuff that happens that it's kind of similar to the idea of like an old world of people that exist outside of the current world. That's all I'm gonna say.
Huh, interesting, but yeah, we definitely didn't watch like later stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured as much. It's just it's just interesting. It kind of reminded me
Hmm.
of it when I was playing it.
Yeah, maybe same themes, I guess. Interesting.
So when it comes to leveling up in a lot of monster taming games, you kill something or you faint something or whatever, you level up, you learn a move. But instead of the traditional learn sets that we get in those type of games, I noticed that Monster Sanctuary has a skill tree system by which skill points are earned, and then you sort of level up subsequently. You can unlock different skills, and they range from like passive abilities to new attacks. What inspired that sort of system as opposed to the traditional RPG way of doing things?
Well, it's maybe not common in monster taming games, but yeah, in other RPGs, it is quite common to have this kind of skill
Oh, okay.
system. So it was mostly inspired by other RPGs. I was thinking like, yeah, why we don't bring this to a monster taming game? Also, wanted to make it like more complex and more interesting,
Hmm.
more strategical. So that's I I think I really liked. So I th- like when I designed the game, it was mostly like how I would like the game to be played. Like
Hmm.
how would I enjoy the game? So I tried to do it in a way that would be interesting for me, and yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we had this skill system.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like an idealized version of we would how Dennis would have liked like monster taming games to be.
Hmm.
You could say maybe.
I don't have a whole lot of experience playing RPGs outside of the monster taming genre, so that's probably why I didn't know that that was more common. um, but I definitely like it. I find that monsters. Okay, so in the review I made for the game that I uploaded, I said that Monster Sanctuary is a lot more complex than let's say Pokemon, but it's also not too complex. Like there is such thing as too much complexity, and I think you guys found like a good balance between making something like learnable and like just completely overwhelming someone. Because I know some games I've played, like there's just so much stuff going on that you have no idea where to start. But I think you guys did a really good job sort of like bridging that gap.
Oh yeah, thanks. Personally, I actually think we are kinda maybe a bit on the edge of being too complex.
Yeah,
You guys are
like it
definitely more
depends on
complex than
the
most.
yeah. I mean, it always depends on like individual tastes. So I mean, when we watch like the streams on Twitch of like people playing for the first time,
Hmm.
like there are definitely a lot of like rookie mistakes that we realize people make a lot in the beginning. Um, but also like so yeah, it's like so different. Like some people like kind of figure it out so quickly like how to make really good skill trees, and for other people it's much harder.
Yeah.
And I guess the advent like what we did well, I think what Dennis did well, because he pretty much designed like all of this like beginning stuff, like all of this like essential stuff, is that the UI is pretty good. And like if you have like the patience, I guess you can like read through the all the skills of a monster like relatively quick, and you can
Yeah.
like kind of see like what this monster has available like relatively quick. But yeah, for some people, I think it's still might be too overwhelming and too complex, I guess. So yeah, kind of a hard question. But I guess a certain group of people, and it seems like at least like a big amount of people, because it is uh, relatively successful.
Hmm.
Yeah, it works, I guess. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you have a lot of people coming from games like Pokemon or maybe even like Temtem and stuff like that. That maybe this is like a step up in complexity for them because, like generally
Absolutely.
speaking, those games are they're quite simple in terms of they're like easy to pick up, harder to master type things. But I guess I've played a lot of different monster taming games, and just an example of one that I find is like, at least for me, just completely overwhelmed me at the beginning. It's a great game, but Cerealum is very complicated. Like there's so because they do 6-on-6 battles, and there's like you guys have like artifacts, right? Where you can attach three different items, and what are
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yours is just called equipment. But they
Yeah.
have these artifacts which are like held items, but then you can attach like 3 gems to them. Then they have like nether stones, and they have something else, and then there's like 1,000 monsters. It's just I was like,
Well, I think it's because the creator of Zeralem, I forgot his name right now,
Zach,
unfortunately, but
Zach.
yeah. We have like some contact with him too,
Yeah.
so kind of embarrassing that I forgot his name. Sorry. But I think the thing with Zeralem is that he has been kind of working on it and like making new
Oh yeah.
like versions, new sequels that kind of add on more stuff. I guess so. That's maybe why it is how it is. Like he kept adding like more like layers of complexity to
Oh
it, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, the game that he's currently working on that's in beta is the 4th game in the series, so it's definitely had some. It's a great game, like I said. It's just at the beginning, I was like, I mean, even still, like when I play, I have the second Serialum on my PSP or PS Vita, and even still when I play, I'm like, holy crap! Like there's so much, there's so much I still got to learn.
Yeah, I think the game is also like going into this niche that
Yeah.
you uh, try to target an audience that are looking more into like more complex gameplay.
And
Yeah,
like more ways to kind of customize your monsters, I guess, also
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
which like other monster taming games, at least like Pokemon, I guess it has complexity, but it's kind of hidden and it's kind of like off through all this like kind of like weird like random
yeah,
or
yeah,
like hidden mechanics. And I guess with games like Monster Sanctuary and Zeralim, it's
yeah.
giving more control to the player, which
Yes, yes.
for the casual people, I guess, is can be like overwhelming because games like Pokemon kind of like take
They
care
just
of
do it for
them
you.
on
Yeah.
like the back end, and here we put that kind of in the front end, I guess.
I have to say that I find the Pokemon system and like for the first few generations, it's not really their fault. It's just whatever back in the day, whatever. But I find the systems to be archaic, to be honest. Like EVs and IVs, I think, are just completely just they don't need to happen anymore. Like what you guys did with customizing your skill trees and giving these different items that you can attach to your monsters to customize them that way, in my opinion, anyway. And I've said this before, but they're 100 times more superior than all these hidden mechanics, having to breed for perfect stats, having to do all this unnecessary like just grinding for random odds. Anyway, I could go on. I could make a whole video about that, but I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate not having to breed 60,000 of the same monster just to get one that's somewhat viable. So
Yeah. On that topic, I guess funny story. Like when Dennis was like working on the game and like asking me for like ideas, I like told him or like I showed him like Wikipedia articles about like these like mechanics in Pokemon, like the hidden IVs and EV systems. Um, but I guess Dennis didn't let that like influence him. I just wanted to say like, okay, yeah, like Pokemon has all of these like weird systems. I don't know. Um,
no, I'm
Yeah,
definitely glad that they're not there.
yeah, I was not a fan. I also like when I played the very first Pokemon game. Back then we didn't have internet or so.
Hmm.
I didn't know that this even existed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the only thing that we had was the guidebooks. Like that's how we knew like how to evolve the Pokemons
yeah.
and like what attributes they have. Like they had these like pages where it's like showing the attributes for each Pokemon. But yeah, it's such a funny thing that actually in the game, it's like so much determined by like these hidden factors.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you'd think like with the newer generations, they'd be like, okay, let's move away from that. But nope, it's still the exact like even the way the systems were. A lot of their systems work, like their base stats. They're based off of 256 bytes still. So like for example,
I mean, yeah, the thing is that they kind of designed all of the Pokemon games to be like kind of like compatible in a sense. Like you
yeah,
could bring, at least in the old Pokemon games, you could bring a Pokemon from the first edition to the second edition,
yeah,
and then the third edition to the fourth.
yeah, and the stats, they're still like that. Start like from the third generation onwards. Like even like you could take a new Pokemon, look at its base stats, and it, like if you're editing like one of the ROMs or making your own fan game or whatever, you could just plug in their stats and they'll work 100% the same as they would as they would otherwise. The abilities get a little more complicated with stuff like that, but the skeleton of the Pokemon is still like the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean that in the like since like generation 5 or 6, I guess they've been trying to find ways to make it like giving more control to the players with these like weird other mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess this is now going too much into like Pokemon.
Yeah, you're right. um on that note, we did talk about the combat system a little bit. Can you give us more of an explanation on how the combat works? Because it's not just attack, attack, attack. It's you got to build up a combo. That builds up your power and stuff like that. Can you give us like a brief overview on how exactly it works?
Yeah, basically, you have 3 monsters on your turn, and you act with all your monsters first before the turn goes back to the enemy. And you can freely decide which of your monsters go first, or go second, or go third. And each attack, or many attacks, have like not just a single hit, but multiple hits. And the more hits you do with an attack, the more the damage of the next attack will be increased. So the idea is to have like your support or your weak monsters go first and do many hits to boost the damage of your damage dealing monsters, who can go last and do maybe strong single hit attacks.
Yeah, and I guess Dennis was thinking about like creating some kind of like weird combat system with like combo mechanics for some time actually, because before Monster Sanctuary we kind of had like an idea for like a different game which was supposed to be like more just like a regular like JRPG with like some kind of like combo mechanics.
Yeah.
Right, Dennis?
Yeah,
Remember that?
that was basically it. Also, like turn-based combat can be quite boring, where you just go for mashing always the default attack
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not really putting any thoughts into it. And that was something I would try to to change. That you really try to think what actions you use and in what order you use them. Also, this rating that you receive after combat,
Yes.
every combat is rated, and the game says you how well you did.
Yeah.
And based on that, you have increased chances to get the monsters
Yeah.
eggs. That's how you get monsters in our game, or other rare items. So you try to motivate the players to actually play strategical.
Yeah, so it's kind of like turning the combat into like more like a puzzle, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, and also like giving like meaningful rewards.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it definitely keeps you more engaged because I mean, if you spam the A button, you're going to get destroyed. So, you can't just spam the A button. It doesn't work.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, like oh yeah, like there's definitely been a few times during my playthrough where I just was like, okay, you know what, I'll probably be fine, and I go in there and I just get absolutely destroyed, and I'm like, Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to think for this battle. They're gonna kick my ass if I don't.
Yeah, also like the goal was that players do feel like, okay, if I adjust my strategy a little bit or play it a little bit differently, that they can feel that yeah, they get a different result. So they feel that they actually can influence the outcome with their decisions they make
Hmm.
regarding the skill trees, the equipment of the monsters, or what monsters do you combine.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, onto evolution. Evolution's always a topic that everybody likes to hear about. People are always interested in evolution, and Monster Sanctuary's evolution system is also unique. It's something that I remember in game they tell you, like, evolving your monster, it'll complete. It's not just a step up; it's actually a change. So can you go into
Yeah.
depth on that?
Yeah, by at the beginning we actually didn't want to have evolution at all.
Mm.
We were rather looking to have more different, unique monsters.
Yeah,
So we had this Kickstarter, or I think like even before the Kickstarter, there was like the goal of having something between 50 to 100 monsters.
yeah,
And yeah, if you at in evolutions, you will have like a lot smaller count of different kind of monsters.
yeah,
And so we rather wanted to have like more, yeah, unique monsters.
hmm.
But yeah, at some point we realized, okay, we now want to add this butterfly like monster, and we have this magma pillar monster that is like a caterpillar. It would kind of make sense that the caterpillar
Yeah.
evolved into the
Yeah.
butterfly.
Yeah, I
So
think it
we
really started with that, yeah, Magma Pillar.
Yeah, so we thought, okay, actually maybe we can add like a couple of evolutions, but
Yeah.
not like as many like as Pokemon has. And also we wanted to have the evolved monsters be somewhat similar to the pre-evolution form, but not like a straight upgrade, but
Yeah.
still be kind of different.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the idea, to have still like the monsters be unique and that you can use the pre-evolution as well, just maybe as a different role. But yeah, it's also has like the downside that a lot of players experience, like that players evolve monsters not knowing what they will turn into, and
True.
all of a sudden they don't have that monster that they relied on previously, because the new monster has a different role, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. I think it kind of ended up kind of as like a little bit of a weird mechanic. Especially with like, yeah, like monsters like Megapilla. Megapilla is really kind of like the prototypical like evolution monster, because the idea really started with Megapilla, and
Hmm.
it also like shows like I guess kind of like the problems with it, because a lot of people like if they use Megapilla, they build him as a support, because of he has some really good support abilities.
Hmm.
And then when you evolve him to Megamorph, he basically turns into like a damage dealer pretty much.
Hmm. This is to less of an extent, but I know, like, when Grummy evolves, it loses its poison abilities, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think I mentioned that in one of my videos, was like, if you're gonna evolve, keep that in mind, because if you were using this, like me, for example, I use it like, and I'm not claiming to be that good at the game. I think I'm okay, but I was generally using it when I was playing through the game to poison stuff and and stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
if I went and evolved it, I would have been like, no, I can't poison anyone anymore.
Yeah, that is, I think, something that if we make some sort of sequel, we would like rethink that somehow, at least like to, I don't know, make it so people will know like what will change or something like that. I don't know. Um, yeah. Well, yeah, on the topic of Grummy, I guess the idea was because we already had at that point a lot of, I think, water and earth monsters,
Hmm.
and it's less water and fire monsters. I think it made sense to kind of change the elements there.
Oh yeah, definitely a cool combination for sure. So this is another interesting mechanic, and I guess you could, to someone who's never played Monster Sanctuary, or I guess you could say this is sort of like the shiny equivalent, but it's still very different. Shifting. Could you guys sort of explain how it works? Because with shinies or lumas or brilliance, or different games have different names for it, but with those games it's generally just aesthetics that change. But with shifting, it's actually depending on which way you shift, you actually, the monster itself gets different abilities and stuff like that. So can you guys explain shifting a little bit?
Yeah. Shifting comes in the game at some point in the story. It doesn't exist right away, but it happens later on, and it is kind of a gameplay mechanic that, yeah, as you progress through the game, you still need something new from time to time to be excited again. So, and this is like a breath of fresh air in the mid game
Mm.
that adds like on the stuff that the players learned to this point already. So that's like an additional layer. And actually, kind of, this is the maybe more true evolution mechanic of our game, because those are
Hmm.
actually straight upgrades to the monsters.
Hmm.
Yeah, they gain better stats. They get a new, often very strong passive ability, and yeah,
True.
you have like two shifts always. You have like a light shift and a dark shift, and once this story event happens, monsters can appear in the wild as light shifted or dark shifted, and
Yes.
also you have an item that you can use to shift your existing monsters. Those are some rare items, but yeah, you find them from time to time. But yeah, the chance for them to appear is like nowhere near the shinies of Pokemon. It's like actually 25%
Yeah,
chance
it's a
that
lot
a
more
monster
common.
appears
Yeah, I
shifted.
use the term shiny because people like it, just that's what they associate it with. But like you just said, it's very different. The odds are very different. It actually, like, shinies don't really do anything besides look cool. But in this game, like, those different colored monsters actually have different abilities. They have they're very different. You can change one from base into that form rather than having to find it. So I say shiny for the people watching, but it's very different. It's called shifting.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
I
it
mean,
was yeah, you can say.
yeah, I mean, if people like ask, does the game have shinies? And yeah, we answer
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
kinda.
yeah. It's sort of like I've done a couple of videos talking about shiny systems. Like Nexomon, I named the video like Nexomon shiny system explained. In the description, I explained that they're called cosmic. But if I just type in like like if I were to type in Nexomon Cosmic explained, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? So like people just automatically associate it with that, but yeah, it's very different. Okay, so
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just yeah, what I just wanted to say was I guess it's also like a little bit inspired by some older RPGs like Secret of Mana, where I guess they kind of did it for like budget reasons, where you later in the game you kind of fight the early monsters again, but they have like different colors and different skills, and they're
Oh,
like
okay.
stronger. That's kind
Yeah,
of, I think, also a little bit like the inspiration, I guess.
yeah. Also, like that was quite typical for um, RPGs or games, for older games. Like they often reused the same sprites, but just did a different color.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
even Breath of the Wild does that. Some of the
Yeah,
monsters, if you kill
true.
them enough, they come back. Or even you don't
true.
even have to say Breath of the Wild. The first Zelda game does that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, and I guess we kind of try to make it like more meaningful.
Oh, it's cool. I like it. I think it's a really cool idea. And obviously, we don't want to get into the the story implications or anything, but the like how it happens and what's going on is really cool too.
Thanks.
Okay, so now I have some community questions that were asked in our Discord, and for anybody watching, if you ever want to give any input into any of the videos, we always have a sort of question pool that people ask in the Discord. But anyway, so the first community question comes from Nazir, and he asks, "Oh, this is a good question. So now that Monster Sanctuary is out, what's your next goal?"
Well, we will still update Monster Sanctuary. Like, there are still a couple features we promised in the Kickstarter that didn't make into the game yet, like New Game Plus or player customization.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, there is some potential that we might go for like a DLC,
Oh yeah. Okay.
but it's nothing that we can promise yet for 100%.
Hmm.
Otherwise, yeah, we do have like we did consider to make Monster Sanctuary 2 right away,
Yeah.
and it's still a possibility that we will go for it
Okay.
or go for it at a later point. But right now we are thinking of actually doing a different monster taming game
Oh,
next.
really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Are you able to
Oh wow, big
elaborate on
reveal.
that?
I didn't think Dennis would bring that up. That's a big reveal. Kind of. Yeah, I don't know. Can we elaborate on that more?
I think let's keep it just vague that it's a monster
Just that it
taming
would
game.
be
Yeah.
different, I guess.
Yes.
A little bit
Okay,
different.
okay. Well, you know what? I'll definitely be there to cover it, so I'm excited now. um okay, so that actually answered a couple questions cuz Banny asked sequel when.
Yes.
And then Bloba asked any plans for DLC, so you answered that as well. Okay, Gilgard asks a pretty good question. Were there any monsters in particular that underwent a lot of changes, whether it be design or their game mechanics? And then he goes on to say, I know monsters change a lot during development and wanted to know which one was difficult to implement or went through a drastic change from what it was initially thought to be.
Well, one maybe Anton is also a monster, but one I have that I'm thinking of is Arachleech. It went on to receive a lot of balancing changes during the beta.
Hmm.
Like some of its skills changed. Also, the light shift ability changed, and at the later point, also the dark shifted ability changed. So probably it was one of the most monster that needed to receive the most balancing changes over time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and but I guess like a lot of monsters got like a lot of changes throughout the whole early access phase. It's hard to like say, but I guess also not just like the early access phase, but also like in the idea phase. I guess the monsters will usually undergo some small changes at least.
Hmm.
But I guess it's usually more about like the skills and like for example, we also had like a lot of skill ideas that like kind of were cut or like were changed a lot.
Yeah.
Like I had this idea for this crazy aura for Asura. Instead of like stealing buffs, that Asura would be able to steal
Yeah.
the multi-buff or multi-debuff auras of the enemies, so that they will also be applied on their own party. But I think that was too crazy. So a lot of like changes like that, also like ideas. Yeah, I guess there were also like some monsters that were cut. Like for example, for Ancient Woods, we had an idea for like a champion that was supposed to be like kind of similar to like Raduga, like in the terms that it would also be able to have 4 elements, I think.
Yeah.
But then we kind of went with Raduga instead. Like it was like a completely different design actually. Yeah, but I guess we shouldn't talk too much about that because we might still put that into the game later, maybe, or like in another game. Who knows?
Oh yeah, true. Very cool. We got some. Is this the first time you guys have mentioned anything about making a new Monster Taming game?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so, right?
yeah.
Okay, so we got some exclusive information.
Well, actually, sorry. In the interview I did yesterday,
Oh,
um, I think I also kind of spoiled it a bit
oh.
already.
Ah,
Either way, it's big news. It's definitely big news.
true.
So, Substitute Doll asks, what is the process for designing a monster?
Well, usually we do some brainstorming first. Like we have this area that we want to add to the game,
Hmm.
and we do brainstorming what monsters could we add. This was actually like yeah, the first couple monsters were mostly were my ideas I came up with, but later on it was mostly Anton who did a lot of the brainstorming. Like he puts a lot of like ideas of potential monsters, and then we narrow it down to okay, which monsters we take. Also, we had quite a lot of monsters designed by the community. We had like this community contests where
Yeah.
people could like design monsters, and then there was a voting, and in total, out of the 100 monsters, 16 were designed by the community,
Hmm.
and two additional ones were designed by uh, backers who pledged to a very high perk,
Hmm.
where they get this yeah opportunity to design their own monster. So yeah, in total it's 18 monsters that were designed by the community.
That's awesome, though. It makes
Yeah,
it feel really like a community-driven game when you have stuff like that.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they just had a lot of good ideas, I would say. Like we were pretty like uh it was just like so cool to see like all these ideas like in the first contest already, I think.
yeah. Also overall, yeah, the game was really developed very community driven. Like right before, even before the Kickstarter, I released like a demo, and yeah, we like took a lot of the feedback that we got and added it to the game, and let it influence how the game turned out.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I guess in general, I guess our process for designing monsters was kind of that we I think always kind of started with the looks or like the design first, and then we kind of thought about what kind of skills can we give those monsters. But I guess no, I mean we also had like ideas for like skill trees and like skills we want to do, but then that was like more kind of like a I guess you could say like a mixing and matching
Hmm.
process, like thinking do these skills maybe fit to this monster? Um, yeah, guess that grabs it.
Hmm. So, the last community question I have here is from Marcel. He's actually the developer of Coromon. Asked this.
Ah,
Um,
cool.
what did it mean for your project when you started working with Team 17? And for those of you in the are viewing this right now, that's the publisher behind Monster Sanctuary.
Well, it basically meant that we can focus more on just the core development of the game, and don't have to think about marketing or selling the game, or also bringing the game to consoles,
Hmm.
because that's what Team 17 did. And also it gave some kind of security,
Yeah.
because yeah, we have like this somewhat bigger publisher who are experienced of releasing games, of bringing them to consoles, of yeah, bringing it to conventions and the likes. So yeah, that was basically it.
I think Dennis also spent like a lot of time, like before Team 17, especially during the Kickstarter time. I think Dennis spent like a lot of time with like the this kind of like advertisement stuff or like getting the word out about the game. That got less probably after Team 17, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Like, before the Kickstarter, I spent a lot of the development time posting about the game online and building up this following, this community.
Yeah.
And it's after the Kickstarter it became less because Team 17 joined. I helped a bit in that regard, and also because he kind of had this following at that point, so
Oh yeah, that's true.
had this community, so we could focus more on actually just developing the game and not
True.
marketing.
I think
So I guess some thanks also have to go to the community, to the fans.
yeah. I guess Marcel's asking because he's trying to sneak in and steal your publisher, guys. You guys got to watch out.
Um,
All right, so that's it for the community questions, and there's one question when I remember to do so, I like to ask all my developers who come on. For each of you, what's your favorite monster in Monster Sanctuary?
For me, I'd say it's Spectral Wolf.
Okay, makes sense.
On me, it's Grulu, because it was one of the. I don't know. I just like it.
That's your Discord profile picture, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's Grummy, but I mean. It's
Oh,
related.
sorry. Yeah, Grula's the evolution. My bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Grummy was actually designed by Dennis, but Grulu was my idea to
Oh,
have this
okay.
evolution for Grummy.
Actually, Grammy was one of the first monsters I ever did.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in like the first version that Dennis showed me, I think. Or maybe like one of the early ones. I don't know.
Yeah. It was already included, like the very first, like not even the demo, but like somewhat playable prototype. There were like just like 4 or 5 monsters. I think
Yeah.
Okay.
it was Blob, Grammy, Monk.
Tengu, I think.
Yeah, Tengu, and I'm not sure if Steam Golem was there. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
these are like some of the monsters that I use. I use Grummy. I use the. Well, I was using the monk for a bit, but I've been using Tengu since like pretty much as soon as you can get him.
Wait, but was Monk really one of the first ones? Because I remember actually that Monk was one of my ideas, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was your idea. Yes, definitely. But I think it was still one of the first monsters. Yeah, I'm quite pretty sure it was like in this very first prototype already. At that point, you also already contributed
that's true, I guess.
some ideas to the game.
That's true, I guess. All right.
Cool. So with all that being said, everyone watching, definitely check out Monster Sanctuary on Steam or on console if you haven't already. You can find Morai on Twitter as well. And if you want to see a review of the game, I got you covered. I got all the links to Monster Sanctuary's social media in the description of this video, so definitely check them out. And I highly recommend playing the game. If anybody's watched my review, I had like almost no complaints about it, so definitely check it out if you haven't. But you guys wanted to say anything before we sort of wrap things up?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this positive feedback, and yeah, the interview was fun. So
Yeah, thanks a lot for the questions.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I'm sure like a lot of our mutual fans will be happy to see this, and I'm hoping some of the people on my channel that maybe haven't played it yet will see this and decide to check it out, because it's honestly a really good game. Like, I'm not just saying that, like, it really is.
yeah, thanks.
No problem at all. So yeah, with all that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, peace.
Bye.
Bye.